welcome everybody. The Brain Trust is back. Sami Abusaad is done serving his 2-week suspension for unnecessary roughness. So we are going to figure out what's going on in the market. Everything is upside down. Nvidia's been down. Tesla's been up like crazy. So of course we have to bring in the boys to figure out what's going on in this wacky, insane, frothy market where there's like 10 million stocks up like 40% this month, and most of them are garbage we've never even heard of. But obviously the big topic, Tesla, Nvidia. Nvidia is like 89% since the election. Nvidia is actually down 3%, something which we didn't think we'd ever see. Tesla's up 38% this month. So Sami, I will start with you. So long time ago, you rudely interrupted me and called the bottom on Tesla at like 140. And then over the summer, you predicted Tesla 400, which we thought was a little bit insane. What do you think of Tesla up here?
So Tesla, you remember those 500 shares that I took? Not even has it been a month? Like a month ago. They're up 117 today, as of today, 117,000. I was gonna trail half Tesla under 457. No, my exact trail in the system is 456.89. I was gonna trail half because it's getting a little climactic for sure. But that's what Tesla does. Is once it gets going, it always like grinds up, and then eventually shoots up. So that's what it does. I'm used to it. I've been trading it for a long time. So I'm not surprised, honestly, that it had that big move up. I never thought about even trailing it until yesterday's bar, until that reversal bar, which if we had taken it out, the low of that bar, yesterday's low, which is like 457, so my trail was going to be slightly under it, then I would have trailed out of half the position. But no, we're not taking it out, so I'll just continue to, bring my trail up. Actually, yesterday was the very first time I brought it up. But I'll keep my trail under 457 for now for half the position. And who knows? I think it will at some point top out, come back in. But this is just the start, maybe, of that Trump trade for Tesla. So eventually, who knows? It could go to 1,000. It could really, no one knows for sure. So I think right now is way too late to get in, of course. Maybe trim some, like bar by bar on the daily chart. I'm not going to go bar by bar quite yet. Like, I'm not going to bring it up to today's low. I'm going to keep it under yesterday's low for half. But eventually, I think it might still has, a lot more to come. We'll see.
Okay. All right. So JR, you and I, JR, I believe you also threw out Tesla 400 at some point with me. Do you think the Trump trade, especially, I guess with Tesla specifically, is going too far too soon?
I mean, 2 weeks ago we threw out Tesla 500, and you printed 488 today. It doesn't have to make sense, that's what the chart's telling you.
Okay. Yeah, Tesla does it. I mean, as a company, it never seems to make sense. Sami, sorry, I see you're.
I love what JR just said. I love it. It's the absolute truth. It does not need to make sense to you. Meaning it doesn't need, the market doesn't owe us an explanation. I read the quote one time about the universe. The universe doesn't need to make sense to you, or doesn't owe you an explanation or something. The same with Tesla. All we do is we see what's going on with the price action, and we trade it. We take advantage of it. Doesn't need to make sense to you. That's what I believe, at least, when it comes to trading. Sorry, go back.
No, I totally agree. I have a little sticky tape posted on the right side of my monitor, Richard Wyckoff quote. The tape is the tyrant. If the tape says we're going higher, don't fight the tape.
Okay, I want to bring Derrick into this. So Derrick is a known Tesla hater, and I can see he's short the stock here. So Derrick, why bother walking this high wire in particular?
So look, on December 5th, we called out a Tesla long for the 360 wedge breakout. 360. Now we're at, like a couple weeks later, $484 right now as we're having this conversation. That was a phenomenal long. And even though I have certainly been a Tesla hater at times in the past, I'm a chartist. And that was a beautiful, beautiful pattern for that breakup through 360. at 483 here, I think Sammy said the right word. It's getting a little bit climactic. This move has been so fast in such a short period of time that, guess what? I'm back on the other side of the trade. I'm coming in up here and I am shorting it, and I'm shorting it somewhat aggressively. Obviously have to be a little bit careful because this thing could continue a momentum squeeze that doesn't stop till 500 or 520. But it's finally at this point here. I mean, this thing hasn't even touched its 80 MA on the daily chart almost the entire month. It's getting crazy, and it's just totally going parabolic. So I love Sammy's move on his long. He's that's the stress-free money. He's like, hey, I'm long. It's going up. I'm making a lot of money. I'm going to trail my stop. I'm going to make money no matter what. But if it wants to keep going to 520, I'll just make even more money. I mean, that's the stress-free money. That's the way to do it. I love it. For me, I woke up this morning and I was like, I want as much stress as possible. So let me come in and short Tesla and short some quantum computing names and try to not pull my hair out.
Okay, now I'll just point out. So Tesla has, if you guys can see on the screen, the highest RSI of any stock in the Qs or the S&P 500. I don't know if that means anything to you. Okay, so let's talk Nvidia. So we have Lisa Su, the CEO of AMD. I don't know if this is officially her, but it might be, say, an Nvidia Schmidia, and asking if JR got the pic of her on the beach, the one in the pink bikini. Very inappropriate. Okay, so JR at 132, it was either last week or the week before, you called Nvidia long, and it seems like it's finally having a good day today after big underperformance over the last month. Do you still like Nvidia?
Yeah, let me share my chart here. So yesterday, a lot of people were having what I call head and shoulders hysteria. Okay, people love to spot head and shoulders and just embrace the short trade. And I just kindly pointed out what an orderly retracement you had here into anchored VWAP off the pivot lows, and the fact that this was for me an obvious bear trap that was going to cause as much possible pain on shorts as possible before it goes back to its value area, which is exactly what it's doing today. So we broke a regression channel on the 15-minute chart here, and we're now back, retracing back into Nvidia's value area and trading range. So, it's a very, very difficult and tall order to be shorting Nvidia off that 129 break, as you can see technically. And I believe it's going to retrace all the way back to 145.
Okay, 145. You heard it here. Okay, Sammy, how about you? What do you think of Nvidia up here?
So Nvidia is a classic case of daily downtrend and weekly uptrend. So normally when the shorter time frame is bearish and the longer time frame is bullish, normally you want to wait for the shorter time frame to fail on the way down or to bottom, so you can play the longer time frame long. If you look at the weekly chart, Nvidia is actually, as JR mentioned, is in an orderly pullback. The daily kind of curled and rolled over. Whoa, is that JR?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to mute myself.
But so the daily was rolled over a little bit, but the weekly now I think might have bottomed. By the way, JR last week, 2 weeks ago, also called the bottom on Nvidia on the intraday, like totally the bottom, live on the mic. We were doing this episode. The live stream. Too. And you called it exactly. You were right on the money. I was wrong about it. I thought it was still lower. So that was perfect. I also want to go back to what JR said. I mean, not JR, Derrick said. He called Tesla long, and now he's looking at playing it short. That tells you something. This guy's got no attachment to the position. He's got no attachment to, I hate Tesla, let me play it always short. No, while it was bullish, called it long. Now that it's going a little climactic, looking to play it short. That's wonderful. That's how you want to be if you're a technician, a chartist. No attachment to whatever you believe about the company. Their cars suck or their cars are great, their CEO great. Who cares? What you care about is the chart. One last thing, I did look up that quote that I told you about, and it says the universe has no obligation to make sense to you. So and the same with stocks. The concept doesn't have to the company has no obligation to make sense to you. What I need to make sense for myself is the chart. That's what needs to make sense to me, and that's it.
Yeah, it almost seems like Buddhism is the ideal trading philosophy. I mean, it makes sense as a general operating system for life, non-attachment to all these external things, but it definitely seems like it would factor into trading. So we will get into Nietzsche and Freud and the Buddha after the new year. Okay, Derrick, how about you? I know you're quite active in a lot of these AI names, especially the high flyers. How do you feel about Nvidia?
So I just covered some Tesla, just so you know. I'm kind of staying away from Nvidia right now. I don't like. So we had a great trade a couple weeks ago that we're just recapping that long. That was back on November 27th. We got a great bounce off that to 146.5 or so. I don't like the relative weakness that this thing has shown the last, like, I don't know, week or so. And to me, I just got very mixed like feelings on my thought process on Nvidia, because I think that the Qs need to pull back. But what I don't know is if the Qs pull back, if Nvidia actually goes up or if Nvidia goes down. If the Qs pull back, in theory, you would think that Nvidia goes down. But we're in this like wild dispersion market right now, where it's like, if one thing goes down, something else goes up. If something else goes down, something else goes up. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if all of a sudden you see like the real high flyers like Tesla, Apple, Amazon that have been super strong pull back, because I think that the Qs 2 days ago are starting to get a little extreme on the upside. But what does that mean for Nvidia? Is that a Nvidia bounce when that happens, or does Nvidia sell also because of the Qs? So for me, I just don't have a good feel for it right here, right now. So I'm taking a step back from it. I do have a very small AMD long position, but I don't have a lot of conviction in that one either, to be honest.
Okay. All right. Okay. So big news today, obviously, is the Fed. You know, markets are up huge this year. You know, the Qs have been leading in December. So Derrick, let's go right back to you. Do you have any feelings about the market overall heading into the Fed this afternoon? And do you think there's something in particular the market wants to hear from the Fed?
So this market right now is historic, actually. What's going on right now in this market is unprecedented, where breadth has been down. So the average stock in the S&P has been down for 12 trading sessions in a row. That ties the record going back, I'm not sure how far, but that ties a record on a pretty far look back. So you have 12 days in a row where the average stock has gone down, but the S&P is at highs. Every other situation in history where there's been negative breadth in the market for 7+ days, the market has been down. And the only other time when we were down 12 days in a row like this, the S&P was off 16%. Yet here we are with this type of breadth, and the market's sitting at all-time highs. The Qs are at all-time highs. There is very, very little leadership in this market. If you compare even a chart of like the equal weighted S&P compared to the market cap weighted S&P, we are in a very, very unusual market. This has never happened before in history. And it's kind of crazy. We got the Fed at 2 o'clock today. It's going to be a 25 basis point cut. People are expecting it's going to be a little bit hawkish with his language around that. How that impacts the market, I don't fully know. But the biggest thing is it could be a catalyst that causes this wild rubber band that's super stretched right now to revert a little bit. Like, let the average stock catch up a little bit to these leaders, or bring those leaders back down a little bit to how the average stock has been performing. Which way that goes, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, I do think the breadth topic is interesting, because I can see for the Qs are up 5% this month, but over half of Q components are down. I mean, Apple's doing a lot of heavy lifting. The market caps there is almost up to 4 trillion. So JR, how about you? Do you have any expectations for what happens with the Fed today?
to Nvidia real quick, I just want to highlight something for.
Of course. Mhm.
We have a lot of people trading this, so here's what I see that's happening with Nvidia. Okay, so we had this big ascending triangle on the 4-hour time frame, right? You finally broke through value and created a very strong point of control around 140. Okay, 142. I remember Derrick was watching that level carefully on the last pullback, and we have a top of value around 145. And what we saw today was a bit of a shakeout, a little bit of a spring action there, and Nvidia try harding their back into this general value area. We have mixed signals, and this is why I'm just reinforcing what Derrick said. It's really important. We have a distributive upthrust here, okay, and then we had a two-wave corrective and a shakeout, okay. It's not clear in terms of pathing whether we're going to have a two-wave corrective back to the top of value and a back test into our most liquid area around 140. That would give us kind of an inverse head and shoulders reaccumulative schematic and potentially a measured move off this leg 1 into leg 2 into the 165 handle. If we fail here, however, okay, if we start to fail here and we fail point of control, okay, you have a potential measured move lower, much lower into like the 116 handle, where you finally meet some serious demand. So it's a very uncertain chart at this point. I do think we inverse head and shoulder out, retest point of control, and go higher. But we're in a very fragile time in the market. And, I'm going to segue into the FOMC today. We are getting a summary of economic projections. And if we end up getting a dot plot that sort of back talks what they were talking about earlier with the rate cuts, I think the market's going to pull in. I don't think it's going to like that one bit, and we could potentially see a more serious and highly beneficial pullback in the NASDAQ.
Okay, all right, Sami, on to you. So, Sami, you've been pretty relentlessly bullish this year. I think, I've noticed this a lot of times. Sami's like it's sloppy, but it still looks good. So, are we still sloppy and looking good, Sami?
Yeah. So I think if we look at the SPY, the S&P 500, it doesn't look lower at all. I mean, the Qs is a bit extended, which means, as Derrick said, we might see money rotation or sector rotation coming out of the tech stocks like Tesla, whatever, and into other companies. But if you look at the S&P 500, it's just a pure grind up. And I never bet against that kind of grind. I just never do. IWM is back to, by the way, being the IWM of old, which is no longer participating with the broader market. So the IWM has been tough, to figure out when it's going to bounce, if it's going to bounce. So the IWM is a different story. But again, if we do get a pullback, I think it'll be short-lived. If we get a pullback, because I would never bet against this kind of uptrend that we have right now on the daily chart of the S&P 500. So that's what I think. Maybe we get a pullback, maybe not. It's almost always best to go with the trend, not against it, unless you have a very clear case why you should go against the trend. I'll give you, an example. How many of us, okay, over the last couple of years thought this is the top in the market, or we might get a pullback? And look at the market. Look what it's done the last couple of years. I mean, it's just straight up. Okay, tops out for a day or two and then goes back up. Tops out for a day and goes back up. So the big money is not really made by predicting, by timing the market perfectly. That's small money. The big money is riding the bigger wave, riding the trend. And that's why I don't try to even pick the top unless I have a climactic move, unless the market or the stock goes vertical. Then yes, an accelerated move that's overbought, very extended, sure, I'll give it a shot. Okay? Like MSCR a couple weeks ago. Vertical. Let's give it a shot. But as long as we're grinding, as Derrick said, we might even just have sector rotation, money coming out of one sector into another sector. I don't think we'll get much follow through to the downside if we get a pullback at all. That's a lot of words, but hopefully it makes sense.
Okay, all right, guys. So we are going to be closing out soon, but we need some ideas. And since Sammy's been on suspension, we'll start with you, Sammy. Sammy, are there any ideas left?
What do you think, Mike? Are you really talking to me or talking to somebody else
It's
here?
it,
Come on, man.
it's bound to happen. One day, Sammy's going to run out of ideas, and I will be there to support him. But it's going to happen eventually.
It actually happened yesterday. It's not that I ran out of ideas. I said in the newsletter that here's some ideas for you to consider, but nothing official today. That was yesterday because I thought the market might actually come in a little bit, and we have like 50 different positions. I'm gonna present to show you my ideas real quick. It'll take me just 1 second here, and I'll fix the chart. Obviously, these are different watches. All right, so here we go. So okay, should I create a new list here? So let me 1 second. Sorry about that. Let's see, a new personal list. There it is. That's what I wanted. And then done. Let's just do that, and then do a copy and paste. So you guys have the list here. Okay, paste. That's TC2000. And that's my list. But now I know it doesn't look very pretty, so I'll make it look pretty in just 5 seconds here. Okay, so this is what I like at the moment. That's not too far gone. Oh, is it showing even?
Yeah, it's just that the text is a little small. We can see it, but the text is a little small.
All right. Yeah, I'll make it better. Just give me 1 second. I should have done this before. Sorry about that. Here we go. There it is. So now it should be better, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is what I like as of right now. So I like the Upwork, and the reason why I like it now, really, that's where it should have been played. So it's late right now. That's where it should have been played. But the reason why I like it is because of that trusted pattern. It's the transition A on the monthly. So I like Upwork long, hopefully next week, but it actually should have triggered today. But I'm watching it. I like the dollar stores long, especially the 5. It triggered actually 2 days ago, but today it's confirming. So if you look at 5, DG, DLTR, I like them all long, with, again, 5 being the best. Joby triggered in the newsletter today. I think it'll take a while before it goes much higher because it's gotten a little bit sloppy. But if you look at the Joby, it looks higher to 11. It triggered at 8:31, so you're not too late here on the Joby if you want to join in. Docs, we played it as an earnings play over here, and then I sold it. Did a buy setup here, didn't do it, and now it's looking okay again as a swing trade in this case. What was the Docs doing? How did it bottom? It's that nice transition A on the monthly chart. Okay, grind has a daily buy setup. It's been grinding up. It's been really bullish. I'm sorry, not a daily buy setup, a daily 1, 2, 3, but not tomorrow, not today. Tomorrow, I like it higher over the highs. Stop under the red bars low. This is just a swing trade, not a long-term trade. Here's a longer-term trade if you want, the OKTA, which I did it as an earnings play, gapped up, pulled in, and now it looks higher to me to about 99.50, maybe more. Maybe it's a longer-term play. It has a transition A on the daily and the monthly. I'm in the Zoom. We took half profit on the Zoom over here on the before the earnings because it didn't look good on earnings. It gapped down. It's been basing. I think the Zoom is going to start to move back up. I'm in it. I have 500 shares. So, and I had 1,000. And why do I like the Zoom? You guessed it. It's that same pattern on the monthly. It's not as good as Twilio. Twilio is much better, but Twilio is too late now to get in it. Okay, so that's the Zoom. The DoQ, also the DoQ, we're in it from, I don't know what the average price is, but I think it starts to move back up again. DoQ, picture perfect transitioning on the monthly. Okay, so that's the DoQ. Like it higher on this daily buy side. Don't love it, but I like it. Guess what? I'm liking the DJT. Long over whatever the high is here. So this is 38.66. That's 38.80. Let's call it 39. I'm liking the DJT higher to 45. This bar's high. Most of these are swing trades, not long-term trades. Here's a long-term trade for you. It's Roku over 85.50, I think. So just over this bar, that's 84.40 to tell you the truth. So 84.50, and then it's a nice monthly transition A on the Roku. Already in it, but I'm looking to add to it. I issued an ad alert today in the newsletter. Peloton, I didn't think it would work, so I passed on it. Maybe my bias, I didn't think it would work. Boom, nice move. It's been basing, so maybe next week higher over here, stop under the base. Sorry, I'm almost done. RBLX is a weekly 1, 2, 3. Looks good. It's a little late, but looks good. Cypher, I think, needs some time, but it's also basing on the daily chart. So above the base, stop under it as a longer term play. And you guessed it, the China stocks might be ready to go back up. So long on the yen over yesterday's high, stop under the day before. So that's 27.70 would be the stop, and the entry would be over 29.20. It's not just the yen, there's also the CWeb, same pattern. JD is even better. There's the FINV, there's the WB. Those are all China stocks that I like. Okay, and there's more. There's plenty more, but those are some of the ones that I like. Of course, BABA, but it's not as good as JD. And then the last but not least is Weight Watchers. Don't love it. You know, it's not like I'm trying to lose more weight, but, you know, it might be also in the process of bottoming on the Weight Watchers. Nice weekly. Monthly is not as good. So that's kind of what I like at the moment. Ooh, one last thing. MU is reporting earnings. I'm looking to play it long on earnings. It's at resistance. That's what I hate about it. But it looks pretty good on the monthly, and it looks really good on the weekly as well. Hopefully it looks good between now and the close, and I'm looking to play it long on earnings. And that is it for me.
Okay, I just want to say I love that Sami is bullish on DJT and Grinder at the same time. I don't know why I feel like those two go together just beautifully.
No attachment to the underlying company. That's why. I don't care what the company does or doesn't do. I just like the chart. If I like the chart, I'm all for it.
Okay, cool. Okay, all right. Derrick, on to you. Derrick, you need to mute yourself. Derrick, I know you like BABA. Are you also big on this China trade?
Yeah, I just covered more Tesla here. They might try to support this 478 a little bit, but if we start holding below this 478, I think that might be it. That might have been the one last shakeroo on the upside to get everybody out of their shorts. Let's see what happens here. I've got some, but I just booked a little bit more. I just covered a little bit more. Just trading really rapidly while listening to Sami's brilliance at the same time. What am I talking about? You asked me what I like, or you asked me about China? I like China. I like China a lot. I got the move in the yen that I was looking for with that big gap up, and I fully liquidated it. I haven't gotten back in. I still have BABA and JD on. I'm a little bit concerned that I like the base, but I'm a little bit concerned that this becomes more of a January play than a December play. There's not a lot of places in this market for people to do tax loss harvesting. And I think that China might be one of those places. And I think that that's creating a little additional weight on some of these stocks. Otherwise, I think that they would already even be higher at this point. So I've got positions in BABA and JD that I'm managing, watching it closely. If I see something, I'll get bigger. But I'm kind of looking to wait a little bit more on January again to really size back up in the China space.
Okay, and JR, we shall finish with you. You like Nvidia here. Anything else you like? JR's muted. I'll mute.
Yeah. I just want to come clean. I think the only reason Derrick and I are continuing to show up to this thing is because of the Sami watch list. So, Sami, thank you. You really are a value add, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I've been watching Roku, waiting for a continuation.
Like it.
Let me hold on a second. So I've been watching Roku, waiting for continuation. I think so. This looks pretty good. You have inside bar breakout through 86.74, a beautiful monthly base. You had a bunch of triggers already. You could have taken it already, but I think it's still got more upside. TSM, it's a beautiful base on the daily and the weekly. I think it goes higher. Watching that for sure. I think the industrials are set to bounce. One of my traders, TDV, pointed out this deer yesterday. I think one more week and you get a really nice buy setup off the weekly. And I think we may start to see some rotations maybe into value, in the next couple of weeks. This market needs a pullback. It's getting frothy. I keep talking about market breadth in my room every day, and it's extremely poor. Traders are sick of me talking about it, but it's a real thing. And I think that while I'm really bullish on the market in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 months, I think that we're in dire need of a technical pullback in order to see some profit taking, shake out some late money longs, and attract new buyers.
Okay. All right. So, guys, that is going to wrap us up today. I have to go get some pizza. This will be our last show of the year. Everybody's on holiday schedules for the next couple of weeks. So let us know, should we come back in 2025? You can type yes, you can type no. But guys, thank you for all the fun. It's been a wonderful year. This has been a really fun experiment. And Scott says yes. So everybody can thank Scott L for when we come back in 2025. So everybody have Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever else you do. We don't say Happy Holidays around here. We do the real thing. Okay, everybody, have a wonderful day. Thank you, guys.